Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here and welcome back to the Model Railway News for October 2024. And yet again, for the 8th month running or something like that, I am totally mind blown by how many announcements there have been over this past month. I've been waiting for the inevitable quiet month, but it's just not come. I can't understand how these manufacturers have so much manpower to be developing and announcing so much. But the models just keep on coming and it's amazing to see. And actually, if the hobby's dying, somebody better pass the memo on to these guys because they are just churning them out. So I guess the company that is doing the most, yet again, is Rapido. Just at the weekend I talked about how they were the most prolific manufacturer over the past year. Well, I've got another 3 pages of models that they've announced. Mind-blowing. So let's get started with Rapido's first announcement. And that is this. An entirely new range. It's the Ivor the Engine range. Now, Ivor the Engine was a TV series dating back to 1959, and it featured the 2D animated Ivor the Engine and his driver Jones the Steam in a series of very charmingly quaint stories. This is something that's been around for years and it's just so heartwarming that I think everybody that sees it just falls in love with it, including me. That's what I did when I first saw it. Rapido's new range consists of 2 packs. There's the Ivor the Engine train pack, which contains Ivor the Engine himself and 2 open sheep wagons. And they've already revealed some early 3D prints of Ivor, as you can see. Just a gorgeous little fictional engine this. And he's going to be pretty high spec as well. Apparently he'll have working headlamps and even a glowing dragon egg in the firebox. Looks absolutely amazing, doesn't it? This pack will also include cardboard accessories such as 2D cutouts of characters from the show and even some scenery. There's an engine shed and a water tower, plus a new illustrated Ivor the Engine story. The second pack is the rolling stock pack, and this contains the 1 plank wagon with crates as a bit of a load. It comes with a passenger coach, a coal hopper, and even more cardboard figures and buildings. Again, they've already revealed 3D prints of these models, and they look incredibly cute, as you can see. And the crazy thing is that all of this stuff only existed in 2D up until now, so Rapido have had the daunting task of having to turn these 2D drawings into 3D models without losing the overall look of the 2D drawings. Quite a task, really. And I would say, looking at these 3D prints, even though they're not painted or anything like that, I think they've done a pretty good job of maintaining the original look. So the Ivor the Engine train pack is £199.95 RRP, or £169.95 at the retailers, and the rolling stock pack is £114.95 RRP, or £97.70 at the retailers. So we're talking about £30 each approximately for the rolling stock and about £110 for the locomotive. So those are pretty premium prices really, which tells us that these models aren't going to be sort of toy grade train set items, they're going to be more premium items, which I do like quite a lot. You know, this means that they will be detailed and quality, which is great, but I also feel that this would have been a great opportunity for Rapido to produce something a little bit lower end and more affordable. You know, if these were kind of train set style models, which I think they lend themselves to because they are kind of cartoonish looking, then this could have been a good sort of budget offering from Rapido, which would have been a good draw for people into the hobby. As it is though, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing these produced as the premium models that I hope they will be. There's also a sound-fitted version too, which is very exciting. Apparently this is going to feature audio from the show, and there's a lot of great moments from Ivor the Engine, which could be captured by the sound profile Rapido are doing, so can't wait to listen to that. And what a truly unique range this is going to be. So Ivor the Engine, if you'd like to pre-order any of this stuff, affiliate links down in the description. But that's not all from Rapido. I know, an entire range, but that's still not all. We've also got this. For those looking for a somewhat more serious model, Rapido announced an all-new tooled Midland Railway 482 class, or Class 2P for short, which is obviously a 440 that has been available in model form for quite a long time from the likes of Hornby, but this of course is an all-new tooled version of that. and this is being produced in a number of exciting liveries, including the S&DJR Blue. I think that's the end of Hornby's 40-year-old S&DJR 2P then. They're also doing it in the Midland Railway and LMS Crimsons. They look just gorgeous, don't they? They've got the LMS Black, which I guess is kind of a classic 2P livery, and also several BR Blacks to choose from as well. The specs include lots of separately fitted parts, pre-fitted speakers, sprung buffers, 21-pin DCC sockets. These are going to have a firebox flicker effect, that tells you these are top spec models, and much, much more. Apparently the design work for this model is already complete and the project has now moved on to tooling, so the groundwork, by the sounds of it, seems to be all done and lots of progress has been made on these models before they've been announced, which hopefully means we won't be waiting an eternity for these to come out. So they start at £209.95 RRP for the DCC ready version, and at the retailers this comes out at about £178.45, which I think is about what you'd expect to pay in this day and age, provided they are quality, of course. And the renders look absolutely stunning so far. It's pretty good, I think, that these have launched with these renders ready to see, because it really does give you a good sense of the model with the liveries too, so you can really imagine what the final product is going to look like. Anyway, a very exciting project from Rapido once again. More updates as soon as they become available. But what about rolling stock to go with the new 2P? Well, Rapido have made yet another massive announcement with regards to that as well. And that is these, the all-new 48-foot Evolution bogie coaches. So for these, think kind of Hatton's Genesis coaches. So generic coaches which are not based on anything specific, but they're painted into a massive range of different liveries to appeal to lots of pre-grouping modelers. Except, of course, these are much larger coaches than the Hatton's Genesis coaches. They've got bogies and not just 4 or 6 wheels. So it's a real evolution, if you like, on the Hatton's Genesis range, which I like a lot. The liveries include the SECR livery, which checks the first box, so Rapido's SECR 060 will have something to haul there. They've got the Midland Railway livery, of course, suitable for the 2P. The LNWR livery, just like we saw on the Hatton's Genesis range. A lovely Great Western livery as well. Of course, there are plenty of Great Western locos that could use these. There's the Great Northern livery, always a great livery on a coach, I think. They've got the S&DJR, again, perfect for those S&DJR 2Ps. The LBSC livery, that's going to be a good one. And interestingly, some coaches in the Longmoor Military Railway livery. This is pretty exciting, isn't it? There's not much LMR rolling stock out there, so a range of coaches in this livery will be a pretty nice change, I think. Right, specs-wise, these are absolutely astonishing. Get a load of this. So, despite these being generic coaches, there's still lots of different variations built into this tooling, including different roof furniture and other detail variations. They're also going to have masses of interior detail. And I think if Rapido can deliver what they've promised here, these coaches will have the most impressive interiors of any coaches I've seen before in OO. So the interiors will have painting on the seats, paintings on the walls, actual paintings hanging on the walls, and of course separately fitted luggage racks as well. That looks astonishing. And also working lighting to illuminate it all, which can be controlled by a magic wand. So these sound like they're incredibly high-spec coaches, and of course, as you might expect, this does come at a bit of a cost. So the full price for each of these coaches is £69.95, with the typical retailer price of £59.45. So on the one hand, you might say this seems a bit expensive for generic coaches, which I think is a fair point, because obviously people are willing to pay a lot of money for highly detailed models of specific prototypes. But if these are generic, then we haven't necessarily got that guarantee of realism. 60 odd quid seems quite a lot of money for that. On the other hand though, massively high spec coaches. The interiors, the liveries, which look amazing, all of the lighting and such, yeah, you do get a lot for your money here. So interesting to see how this one progresses. Again, if these coaches are quality, I think they could be a winner, and we are crying out for pre-grouping bogie coaches. So another fantastic choice by Rapido. If you'd like to check out the range or pre-order any of it, I've got affiliate links down in the description for you. Okay, next up, yet another new tool diesel has been announced, this time by Heljan. More specifically, it is this, the Class 42 warship locomotive, the first brand new model of this class that has been tooled up in 40 years. And there's been a pretty large selection of liveries announced for these, with your usual BR greens, BR maroons, and also BR blues. Some of these warships are exclusive to Rails of Sheffield, and these cost a whopping £225 just for the DCC Ready model, but the non-exclusives are available a little cheaper at £191.95. And the versions of this model that are exclusive to Rails have an interesting feature by the sounds of it. You can apply the number plates to the ends of the diesel using magnetic plates, so they sort of snap on by the sound of it, which I guess would make them very easy to fit and also exchange, which is interesting. I think for me personally though, this model is a hard pass for now, even at £191. I think if these were being done by Bachmann or Accurascale, then maybe. Not that Accurascale would charge that much, I don't think, but with it being Heljan, given the models I've experienced from them in the past, I'm not willing to pay that. So I think for me, I'll be waiting until these turn up in the sale before I invest in one. The specs do sound good though, I will say that. So they've got a full lighting package with all the usual features, including though engine room lighting, which will illuminate a detailed engine room apparently, which sounds good. Pre-fitted speakers to all models as far as I can tell. They've got full cab detail including decoration, which sounds good. Sprung buffers, etched metal grills, plus other etched details such as windscreen wipers, etc. They've got all-wheel drive and all-wheel pickup, including twin flywheels on the motor. Hopefully these models will also have bearings on the axles. They better do for 190 odd quid plus, but nothing mentioned about that in the spec, which is a little bit ominous, I suppose, isn't it? But no, all in all, I think it is great to see a brand new warship come to the market. I do think this is something that's very overdue. Looking around online though at what people have been saying, it seems that a couple of people kind of wish that it was another manufacturer that had done this, and I must say I kind of agree with that. A lot of the Heljan models I've tried in the past haven't been very good at all, in my opinion, and because Heljan are doing this now, it might put off another manufacturer from doing it. You know, product duplication doesn't produce winners, as I think Heljan once said. However, the extremely high prices do leave Heljan open for undercutting though, so as much as I don't want to say fingers crossed we'll see that, it would be nice to see another manufacturer do one of these, because I'd like a quality warship. But maybe I'm being unfair, we don't know what these models are going to be like yet. Hopefully when they do turn up, they will be quality, and if you'd like to pre-order one, I'm not, but if you want to, I will pop affiliate links down in the description. Okay, let's talk Dapol then, because this has been a very busy month for Dapol, not just in OO, but also in N scale. I'm going to cover a couple of those bits of news as well. But first, let's talk about OO scale. They've showed some updates on their very highly anticipated new 14XX. They've got engineering prototypes of these now, which appear to be fully assembled models from the tooling. So these photos show all the beautifully separately fitted parts and of course the crisp new tooling, which looks like a real refreshing change from what we're used to. Quite impressed as well by how quickly Dapol have put all this together. Project progressing really well by the sounds of it. They've also revealed a similar sample of their 517 class, so obviously this project is running alongside the 1400, and this captures the pre-grouping charm just beautifully. Again, all the detail, all the moulding looks great. They've also revealed the closed cab version too, which looks a little different, and all of these models are available to pre-order for £119 each at the retailers. Very reasonable price, and if again you'd like to pre-order, affiliate links in the description for you. Okay, N gauge then, they've announced a couple of new models here. The first one is this. Another 060 tank engine for N gauge. It is the J72 in a selection of liveries including NER green, which is the classic, I love that one, but they've also got some LNER and BR liveries too. The specs include a die-cast footplate, tanks and chassis. Again, that sounds like a lot of this model will be metal. That's quality, really good to see. And it's also going to have brass bearings, a cordless motor and a flywheel. So it sounds just the job, seems like it's being produced to pretty high standards. The price though at the retailers is a little bit on the pricey side, £119. That's the same price as the 1400 we've just looked at in OO scale, so it's certainly quite expensive. Hopefully the production quality and the detail and the features will match that price, and hopefully it will do. They've also announced this Great Western Manor class in N gauge, and the specs for this thing really do sound stunning. So again, this is going to be a quality model with a die-cast boiler, footplate and chassis, so we're talking virtually all metal with this one. That's really good to hear. It also has a detailed cab and a firebox glow effect. This is a feature that I've never seen before in N scale, and it's a feature that I've always assumed just wasn't really practical at N scale. But apparently Dapol think they can do this, and so that will be a very exciting first, at least for me. The downside with this model though is the price. So the full RRP is £190 DCC ready, which works out at about £161.50 at the retailers. And the crazy thing about this is that's a good bit more expensive than Dapol's OO scale Manor. So what's going on there? We've got the OO Manor, which was new just a couple of years ago, and now the N scale Manor, which is considerably more expensive than it, even though it's going to be much, much smaller. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. I can just about live with N scale models costing the same as OO, but costing more. That's certainly something new to me. I think it will have to be pretty impressive to justify that, but maybe it will be. I suppose it is worth pointing out that the OO Manor doesn't have a die-cast boiler, so that is a difference. Will there be other differences? I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on this one, see how this one turns out. The next bit of news then comes from Ellis Clark, or Clark Railworks, and it's pretty interesting because they've announced and released, so these models are ready to go, a brand new Lomac wagon in OO scale. Yeah, and there are 13 versions available to buy now at £40 each. So the elephant in the room with this then is that, of course, Rapido have just released their own Lomac wagon, and it was a pretty good model as well. So once again, we have got product duplication here. And obviously, I think it's a pity that we've got product duplication because now there are two different manufacturers competing for the same Lomac money, if you like. So I think that's a shame. Do I think Ellis Clark did this deliberately though? Do I think they copied Rapido's idea and decided to bring another Lomac to market? Well, no, I don't think so. And the reason is that Rapido only announced their Lomac back in August of 2023, and that's just a hair over a year ago. So I think it's pretty unlikely that a small operation like Ellis Clark could have turned this project around in such a short amount of time. It takes even the big manufacturers 18 months to 2 years to bring a new product to market. I just don't believe that Ellis Clark could have done this in that short amount of time. So I think that Ellis Clark were already working on their Lomac by the time Rapido announced theirs, and quite obviously they decided to press on with the model rather than cancelling it because, of course, here they are. The Ellis Clark model is extremely high spec. I've heard that it's very high quality. It has a die-cast frame, so lots of metal on board, true NEM couplings, which to be fair, Rapido's didn't have. It's got sprung buffers like Rapido's, brass bearings, again like Rapido's, and much, much more. It sounds like an amazing model, it really does, but at £40, that is £6 more expensive than Rapido's new Lomac, which is about 15% more than it. And much is being made of the separately fitted etched brass tie-down rings, which Rapido's doesn't have. Their rings are just moulded. And as amazing and premium as this feature is, this is something that, for me, you're only going to notice when you're really looking up close at the model. From a distance, I don't think this feature is going to add much to the model. Yet, Rapido's model, which is £6 cheaper, doesn't have the tie-down rings, but it does come with a load, the wheels that you can put on top of the Lomac, which I think is more impactful, at least from a distance, than paying more to have the little tie-down rings but not getting a load. So as much as the Ellis Clark Lomac does seem slightly more detailed than Rapido's, I do think £40 for this is going to make a tricky sale, given that they're second to market, they are 15% more expensive, and they don't come with a load. Also, it's not like the Rapido model is low spec. Like I say, there's a lot of metal on board that model. It's pretty heavy. It's got the bearings, it's got the sprung buffers, so there's not an awful lot in it. So I think it's pretty unlucky for Ellis Clark that two manufacturers have decided to produce this model pretty much at the same time. But if I was Ellis Clark, I think I would have used this year, since Rapido announced theirs, to either work on matching Rapido's price, or at least work on matching all of Rapido's features, including the load for the higher price. So yeah, pity that this is 40 quid. Not sure how this is going to go for Ellis Clark, but it does sound like a quality model. So mixed feelings about that. Okay, moving on, another new announcement to talk about, this time from Accurascale, and it's some pretty modern image rolling stock. So they've announced a new range of FCA container wagons, plus of course containers to fit on them too. These models are fully tooled, and so they're announcing this project with engineering prototypes to show already. They must have been working on this one for a good while already then. So there's many different packs to choose from, with several different paint schemes as you can see, and each of these packs contains 2 wagons with containers, and they cost £129.98 each. That's £65 per wagon. Now I think, considering this is coming from Accurascale, that does sound like a lot of money. But if you look at the photos that Accurascale have shared, they are clearly very complex models with lots of tiny parts fitted to them. So worth the money then, possibly, but also not really appealing to those on a budget. I think that's fair to say. These are cheaper though if you buy multiple packs. You can save several % by doing that. So if you're buying a big rake of these, you can consider these to be a good bit cheaper. These models are exclusive to Accurascale though, which is pretty interesting, isn't it? So the retailers will not be getting a slice of these models. So that makes me think, have Accurascale struggled with the price of these models? You know, if these had gone to the retailers where they would take a slice of the profit, would they have been able to offer them at this price? Would they have been more expensive if they'd gone to the retailers? And I think if they had been, you know, more than £65 each, that would have been a really hard sale, I think. So yeah, these are Accurascale only, and if you're interested in pre-ordering these, I've got affiliate links down in the description. They've also announced the return of the ex-Hatton's ICI hopper wagons. And this is interesting because, of course, the original run of these models were not actually manufactured by Hatton's. Hatton's commissioned them, but it was Oxford Rail which produced these models. And of course now it's being done by Accurascale. So how does that work? Obviously Hatton's must have owned the toolings, but where were the toolings? Did Oxford have them and Accurascale have taken them away? I don't know, but now, yeah, they are being produced by Accurascale, where they're now available in twin packs at £79.94 each. That's about £40 per model, which is 40% more than they cost back in 2018 when they were £25 a piece. So the price of these models has increased way beyond the rate of inflation. Think I wasn't going to mention that just because it's Accurascale? No, these are pretty expensive, much more so than I was expecting. And I think £40 each for these, at least for the models that I've got. Where is the thing? I don't know, I think it's pushing it a little bit, to be honest, because they're very, very lightweight. 40 quid for this, you know, maybe not. 25 was an absolute steal, of course, because of how detailed this was. But yeah, to pay 40% more since 2018, yeah, it's quite a hard sale, but they're decent models, they certainly are, and who knows, maybe they've been improved, maybe they're going to have more metal on them now, I don't know, maybe they have been changed. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a hard sale, 40 quid each for those, but if you are interested, as always, I've got affiliate links in the description for you. Okay, let's talk about Hornby then. So the other month, Hornby caused a huge hoo-ha when they announced that all of their prices, or a lot of them, would be going up. And of course this shocked us all and disheartened us all really, because me and others were saying surely this is going to turn more and more people away from the hobby. Well, now we know what Hornby were really up to, because since that price increase, which happened just last month, they've now been dishing out all sorts of offers and deals to absolutely everyone. I've had loads of emails offering me something like £50 off when I spend £400. That's effectively 12% off. So let's get this straight. Last month, Hornby creates a big splash by increasing the prices of all their models, and everyone goes, oh my god. And now, a month later, they're sending out deals and offers and sales so that you can buy the models at the same prices as before, except now it feels like you're getting a good deal. Is it just me, or does this seem extremely bogus? It seems bogus, but also transparent. Like, you know, I've not got amnesia. I can remember what the prices were a month ago, and increasing them by, what, 10%, and then decreasing them again by 10% in a special offer. There's no net difference. Like, does this work? Well, I think it will work. Yeah, I mean, to us modelers, we're not daft. We're going to know that this has happened. But to someone coming into the Christmas period, buying a train set, someone who's not a part of the model railways hobby, who doesn't know what the prices used to be, doesn't know what Hornby are like, they're going to see, yeah, great, let me do that, I'll spend that money. You know, when they announced that they were increasing their prices, it was all, oh, dear loyal customers, they were all like, we've worked hard to absorb these increasing costs. They said that the price increase was essential to maintain their high quality research, design and manufacturing processes. And then now the prices are back down again, in fact slightly lower than they were before, with all these special offers and sales that they're doing. So was it essential to increase the prices or not? It just all comes across as a bit disingenuous, doesn't it? So yeah, I think I've figured out the strategy behind it all now. It didn't make sense before, did it? But now it does. I don't think they wanted to increase their prices at all. They've just increased the prices so that they can decrease them again in sales and special offers, just to entice people to buy new models. And like I say, for newcomers or people who don't follow this stuff religiously, like maybe we do, I'm sure that will work. Just a little bit insulted, I suppose, that Hornby thought modelers wouldn't notice this. But again, I'm sure casual buyers will see this and think, great, let's do it. Hornby have also unloaded copious TT models to the retailers at heavily discounted prices. They've also got discounts on TT stuff on their website too. So at the retailers you can now buy a TT A4 for less than £100, or perhaps the TT Class 08 Shunter for £89.50. They've said that this sale is to celebrate Hornby's TT range turning 2 years old, but it's not exactly a tradition that as soon as a range in model railways becomes 2 years old, that all of the prices are slashed and everything's available at bargain prices. No, I think more likely they're looking for a sales boost before Christmas, and they're probably also looking to improve the sales figures of their TT 120 stuff. After all, they've got to have something positive to say on the next annual report or the next interim report. So personally, I think that's what's going on with that. There's also some serious bargains to be had on OO wagons from Hornby at the retailers. Rails have got packs of 3 Hornby wagons available for like £35 each. That's less than £12 per wagon. Really compelling prices, so check out those if you're interested. Less positively though, there have been even more cancellations from Hornby recently. So the R40357 pack, that's the first class Liverpool and Manchester coaches. Apparently, according to a retailer that contacted me about them, these have been cancelled. Got more specific news on the cancelled Rustons as well. So R30017, that's the BR Ruston, apparently that one has been axed. Also R30014, that's the Great Western Ruston, these are no longer coming as well. So this has been an amazing month, so many models announced, and yet Hornby unfortunately is still cancelling things. And I think those Rustons are a real pity because they were budget models, they were affordable, yet they were well made. It's a shame that these seem to have been, you know, just cancelled, gone. But anyway, on the whole, I would say this has been a very positive month. So much to see, so much to look forward to. So thank you so much for watching. If there is anything that I've missed and you think it deserved a mention, do comment down below and I'll consider that for the November edition. For now though, have an amazing month. I'll see you very soon on some more videos. But for now, you take care and I'll catch you on the next one. All right, cheers folks, you take care.